Hey guys, it's Ellie here from the Big Sister Project. I hope you're doing well wherever you are in the world. Today's video is really to help you decide whether au pairing is for you, because there are so many things that we can do these days that don't necessarily revolve around studying or working. You know, there's lots of opportunities out there and au pairing is one of them. And what I want to do is ask some questions that can really help you figure out whether au pairing is something that you might want to do. Just grab yourself a pen and paper or get ready to type answers on your laptop or your device, and then at the end you can see how many yeses and how many nos you got. Number one, do you like traveling? Doesn't have to necessarily be, you know, the other side of the planet, but do you like jumping in a car and driving somewhere new? Do you like hopping on a plane and discovering a new destination? And if you don't like traveling, might not be for you already, but keep going anyway. Second question, do you like children? I'm not talking about just seeing them in the street and thinking they're cute, or having relatives over and hanging out with your younger cousins or siblings or whatever it might be. I'm talking about in a closer environment. Do you like playing with children? Do you like interacting with them? Do you like teaching them things? Do you like dealing with conflict sometimes and helping them resolve situations? That kind of thing. So anyone can think a baby is cute, but would you like the process of looking after that baby, or would you enjoy the process of babysitting? That kind of thing. Do you like kids in that kind of circumstance? And if you're in the middle somewhere, that's okay, but just make a note of what that looks like, what your boundaries are. Question number 3, do you like discovering new places or finding new coffee shops or hanging out with your friends on the weekends? Question number 4, do you speak more than one language? Yes or no? If not, that's fine. But would you like to learn a new language, or would you like to immerse yourself in another language, or would you like to contribute to someone else's learning of your language? This is just to kind of measure up your language abilities and where you might best be suited if you chose to be an au pair. Number 5, do you consider yourself to be a little bit daring? Now, I don't mean someone who is daring in the sense of jumping out of a plane or bungee jumping or extreme sports, although that is obviously something that's really cool if you are into that. What I'm talking about is someone that is prepared to be a bit bold and make decisions and kind of take charge of situations and be open to growing and changing and responding to potentially quite tricky situations. Are you willing to take on challenges that might not necessarily have been expected? Next question, do you like teaching? Do you like helping others? Now, before you go saying, but an au pair isn't a teacher, we're not there to be a tutor for the kids. No, you're not. But you will be in an environment where your knowledge will contribute to your relationships. So, for example, if you're in an environment where the host kids don't speak the same language as you and your language is limited, you're going to need to teach them new ways of communicating with you, and they're going to need to teach you back. You're going to find common ground in your communication skills. You might not necessarily be sitting down and teaching them things, but you will be in situations where you might have to negotiate or to enlighten them to other ways of doing things or to better communicate with you. Next question, do you know where you want to go when you leave school or university, or at this next stage in your life, have you got an idea about where you want to go? If yes, that's totally cool. If not, that's fine too. The idea of au pairing is to kind of give you that interim period of figuring out where you want to go and knowing where to put your energy. Either works, but what I'm getting at is not having an idea of where you want to go. Au pairing is perfect because you have that time to figure it out. And if you do, knowing that kind of helps you set yourself some goals and have more direct intentions of what you want to get out of the experience to help contribute to your future. Who likes the idea of a gap year? Or an overseas experience, as they call it in New Zealand. So the reason I'm asking that is because often, you know, au pair experiences can vary in their time frames. So whatever your plan is for your gap year or overseas experience, you can go to be an au pair for the whole duration of that, or you can pick a chunk of it and do it right in the middle or right at the beginning or right at the end, depending on what other things you'd like to do. So if you like to do a gap year and are thinking of ways to fill your time and do something purposeful and earn some money and, you know, connect with another culture, this is a great thing to do. Next question, who likes the idea of getting paid to see a new place, meet new people and try new food and make some awesome connections? Hopefully that's a no-brainer. And of course the pay as an au pair isn't extravagant, but it's enough pocket money to get you by each week, to give you enough funds to go and hang out with your friends, to go to other parts of the country on the weekend. What I'm talking about here is, do you like the idea of going somewhere, doing some work for someone, but it's actually more of a building a connection and having an authentic exchange and getting paid for it at the same time? Big question, do you want kids in the future? Yes or no? Or maybe, you're not sure. And whatever your answer is, Would you like to have the experience of taking care of kids in, in a more immersive environment, so you can kind of get a taste of what that might look like if you chose to have children in the future? Au pairing is a great way to do that because you're taking care of someone else's children, and it's a more immersive environment, so it's not just a bit of babysitting. You get to know them, you get to learn about how they act and they eat and they behave and everything else in between. And it's a great way for you to see how much challenge you can take on, how much you're willing to put up with, because when you have your own kids, of course, you can't just hand them back to the parents later, they're yours. Next question, would you like to travel and see the world, but not from a tourist point of view? Because au pairing is, so yes or no, au pairing is a really great way to do that too, because you're not just being a tourist taking selfies at all the monuments and then leaving and going to the next place. You kind of become, you become a local. So the whole thing is like you're living the authentic life of someone that is from that place. So would you enjoy that process? Next question, do you have friends who are international students? I did. That was kind of partly what inspired me to go overseas in the first place. But the idea of being an international student, they have to pay a lot of money to go and study in another country. They have to pay to live with their host families, and everything costs a lot of money. So would you like the idea? So first part of the question is, do you know any international students, or do you have any international student friends? Second part of that question is, do you like the idea of doing that, but without forking out all of that money? And the study, of course. Who wants to build more international connections and make friends with people from everywhere and have places to go and stay when you continue to travel in the future? This is a really cool thing about au pairing, is that all of you are in the same boat, so all the stories you share are kind of similar and you get to know each other around a common ground. So it's a great setup for building international relations. Here's a slightly different question. Who feels like they have a second mum or a second dad? Who feels like their best friend's mum, for example, or their auntie is also like a mother to them? The reason I ask this is because you do have that opportunity to kind of have that relationship with your host parents in some circumstances. You really get to know each other on a personal level, and you can end up opening up a lot to each other and building bonds that are really strong. So if you already have someone like that in your life and you're comfortable with it, you enjoy it, would you be open to the possibility of having that sort of connection with someone else? Do you like trying new food? Do you like making new food? Do you like experimenting with different flavors and getting to know dishes from all around the world? And another one, do you have nicknames for your friends? Do you feel special with the nicknames you've been given? The reason I ask this is more of a personal thing, but I think when you get to that stage where you have nicknames for each other, it can be, it takes your friendship to a whole new level. You have that solid ground and your relationship becomes more personalized, and that is something that really comes out in your au pair journey. You kind of end up bonding with the kids and your host families in ways that are just as special and significant as the ones that you have back home. So of course there are hundreds more questions I could ask you to kind of help you navigate whether au pairing is for you, but if you answered yes to most of those questions, au pairing could be what you're looking for. In terms of money and visas and logistical stuff, yes, there's so much more to explore, but really in the big scheme of things, the way I look at life is, if you can have an idea in your head and you think, yeah, I'm going to get a lot out of this, this is going to take me here or here, it's going to contribute to my personal development and it's going to give me something that's worthwhile, then why not? Why not take it further? Why not jump on board and just see what happens and make some awesome discoveries?